Welcome to this episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. I'm Taylor Burton-Edwards, Liturgy Man, your Director of Worship Resources with Discipleship Ministries of the United Methodist Church. I am your apportionment dollars at work to help you strengthen worship and the leadership of worship where you are. Today our question comes from Chris Eden, an elder in the Eastern Pennsylvania Annual Conference, who wondered if I could offer some guidance for presiding. I'm glad to do so. It'll be in two videos, though. This week, part one, will look at principles of presiding, which really means what is the great thanksgiving in its heart, and therefore what does that imply about how we lead it. Next week, we'll look at the practices of presiding, and specifically around issues of gesture and how the table is set and things of that nature. For this week, the underlying principle of leading the great thanksgiving, of presiding at the Lord's table, is to recognize that the bulk of the great thanksgiving as we have it is prayer. It's not a sermon, it's not a reading, it's not drama, it's not reenactment, it's prayer. It is not addressed to the congregation, it is addressed to God. And it's more than just prayer. It is the prayer of the whole gathered assembly. It's the whole people's prayer. Your role as presider is not to pray these words, much less simply say these words for the assembly. Rather, it is to lead the whole assembly in offering the great thanksgiving to God together. Sometimes that togetherness is expressed by the congregation saying the same words as the presider does at the same time. At other times, the congregation joins in silent prayer, praying along in their minds and in their hearts with the presider as the presider leads. So it's important that the congregation know the prayer well enough that they be able to participate fully in it, and so be able to offer themselves truly to God in praise and thanksgiving as you are leading them to do so. This means when you do create great thanksgivings, don't shift them up from week to week. Maintain them over a period of time so the congregation can add yet another great thanksgiving to the repertoire and have some competence in offering it, because it is their offering to God, which you simply prompt and lead. Third, it is the prayer of the whole church. That is why, if you take a look at our great thanksgiving, you'll find it looks very much like what you would find in the Roman Catholic Church, in the Episcopal Church, in Lutheran churches, Presbyterian churches, UCC churches. Churches of many kinds have a great thanksgiving, including the Orthodox Church, frankly, that looks a lot like what we do in the great thanksgiving, and even has a lot of similar words. Why? Because all of us understand that the great thanksgiving does not belong to any one denomination. It is the work of the whole church expressed in a variety of ways, but still the work of the whole church offering itself in praise and thanksgiving to God. And that's what we're saying as we join with the church on earth and the church in heaven in praising God in that hymn, Holy, 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 God of power and might, heaven and earth are full of your glory, Hosanna in the highest. Finally, the prayer, the form of the prayer that we're offering is a sacrifice, and more specifically, a sacrifice of thanksgiving. We even say that in our basic ritual form of the great thanksgiving in our hymnal and book of worship, and now in union with Christ's offering for us, right? We offer ourselves in praise and thanksgiving as a holy and living sacrifice in union with Christ's offering for us. So remember these things as you preside. It is prayer. It is the prayer of the whole gathered people, and it's not your job to do it for them, but to help prompt them in offering it together with you so that it's one continuous whole sacrifice together. It is the prayer of the whole church, which affects how you shape it. And it is a prayer that is in the form of sacrifice, and therefore is offered with joyous solemnity. I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you can always contact me, worship@umcdiscipleship.org, through our UMC Worship Facebook group, or just drop a line here on this page, and perhaps your question or comment may become the basis of a future episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. May the peace of Christ be always with you.